the things you do, yeah, thing that you lose inside. Yeah, you can turn your back on me, I don't really mind. But don't look back on me, yeah, no other time. Cause when you're back on me, yeah, I know that it don't feel right. Hey, sometimes you just make me wanna.
Doctor, look at his...
Oh my gosh, hi, we're here.
Oh my God, here we are. A wonderful time. It's going to be PUSD, and Becky, I'm so excited to start the day off with some 2 versus 2 Smash Ultimate.
Of course, I mean, this feels like kind of the quintessential esport. Like, it's been around for probably the longest out of all of the games that you're going to be watching today. I say almost, definitely the longest, going back to some games that you at home probably played, or maybe your brothers or sisters played. So I think this is such a great game to be starting off with. And what are you excited to see from it, from these young competitors?
I mean, I think Smash has culminated throughout the years. I think it started in the very first entry into the series was all the way in 1990. So now we're here at the 2020 release, Smash Ultimate, and I'm excited to see what the players have iterated on. The cast has grown so much throughout Smash's lifespan, I'm just really excited to see some diverse characters.
Absolutely true. And you might even recognize some of the characters. Smash has names such as Pikachu, which a personal favorite of mine. You're Max today, by the way.
And you're me.
I'm you. I mean, if I'm going to be anybody else, I'd sure like to be you. Those names at the bottom were incorrect, but that's okay. We're starting the day off. Always going to come with a few bumps. I am Becky, otherwise known as Becky Bear, and I am joined by Ashcon, whose name you did see below. We're happy to be walking you through the games that are going to be occurring today and try to keep you all hyped up to be watching these matches. And with that, I believe we're also just about ready to get down into these games that we're going to be seeing today.
All right, we're already starting off with a diverse roster. 4 completely different characters: Kirby, Corrin, Bowser, and Roy. 2 of these characters actually share the same franchise, though. Corrin and Roy both coming in from the Fire Emblem series.
And that's one that, like, if you're maybe not super familiar with Nintendo as a whole, you're maybe not going to recognize those names. Whereas Bowser has one of the highest grossing movies that has been released ever. So that's maybe a name and a character that you'll recognize from watching this game. And then, of course, Kirby. I mean, also a very iconic, very cute character. So exciting to see. And a character that has been kind of a mainstay in the Smash series and kind of a menace in the Smash series for a very long time as well.
And this is a 2v2 mode once again, so these players are teaming up in duos, and there will be team damage on. That means they can hit each other accidentally or potentially on purpose. There's a few niche cases where you actually do want to hit your teammates, but we won't dive into it until we maybe need to explain it more directly. We'll save that for later.
Absolutely. So of these 2 compositions, we're going to be using the phrase composition a lot just to describe how certain characters work with one another, especially in some of the games that we're going to get into later today. But which of these compositions of these 2 sets of characters do you like better? Do you think work best together, and why is that, Ashcon?
You know, I think that Roy is a very combo-heavy character, meaning he wants to string movements together to trap their enemy, and I think they'll be able to work well with Bowser, who's a very heavy hitter, who doesn't chain attacks very well, but is able to finish the job.
Absolutely, and I mean, you're getting to see that as well as we start into this game with a character like Bowser. Takes up a lot of space, and you reference them as a heavy character. And we're getting to see that as this goes as well, just trying to really keep a lot of the action pushed in these different directions for these players.
All right, there it is. Looks like we don't have stocks necessarily, but time's running up. So far, no eliminations. Everyone has an even score. There it is, and just as I call it, the first 2 go in favor of the blue team. That's Marshall. Once again, Marshall represented by the blue tags, Vermont represented by the red. Kirby and Corrin down 1 stock each. They need to even it up. They're at a lower percentage, Becky, which means they're harder to hit off the stage now at this point.
Yeah, and you're going to be able to pick that up pretty easily based on the color that you're able to see. Kind of once you're in that red zone, you're extremely easy to knock off of the map.
Whoa! Amazing counter, but also unfortunately works against them. Corrin pops that move, and in case you don't know, a counter is a move that you use in anticipation of getting hit, and it will send back the damage that you were initially going to receive 2-fold or more. Corrin got hit multiple times there and is rewarded with extra eliminations, but also, unfortunately, eliminated their own teammates.
A lot of space being gained by that. Bowser, once again, really trying to keep a lot of that pressure over towards the side of the map, make it more difficult for these characters on the opposing side to get back on to the board. Thankfully for the red side, though, Kirby is one of the better characters at getting back up onto the map, as we're able to see there.
Yeah, Kirby is very floaty, which means they're very light, but also they have, I think, 6 or 7 jumps to work with there, so they can get back onto the stage relatively easily, in addition to their up special, which is a move that every character has that is usually relevant to helping them with recovery.
Seems like our two teams here have kind of broken off into separate 1v1s, broken just a moment ago by this Bowser trying to keep as much distance and keep this Kirby off of the field for as long as possible. Comes back crashing down, and we're back to those two separate 1v1s until that high percentage is just a little bit too much for even the Kirby to float back in from.
Bowser taking the lead by 2. Corrin and Kirby down by 3. You can see that tiny -3 in the bottom of the screen next to their icons. That will be their individual score. The team with the most score at the end of the timer is going to be winning in this format.
Yeah, so far looks like the blue side of Marshall doing quite well. A big flame breath to come in from that side with the Bowser, continuing to just do a great job of taking up space.
Ooh, Kirby sent off and blasting off again. If you're a Pokemon fanatic, that might look familiar to you.
Certainly feels that way every time somebody gets knocked off the map. Very Team Rocket-esque moment. We're also getting to see Kirby do a little bit of a costume change there, is able to take on the appearance of characters that they've consumed within the match. But Roy immediately able to get in a very heavy hit and take off a few more stocks of these players.
Combo there by Roy, able to send back Corrin a bit, and they're trying to chain it together, but they're interrupted by Kirby. Still, they're able to continue the onslaught.
Oh, that hurts.
Corrin dives down. They're trying to find some damage, but they don't space it well, and into the void they go.
Yeah, rough back and forth. That Bowser is going pretty far, but is narrowly going to be able to come back with 140%. Is going to be even having a harder time every single time that happens from here on out. You can see in that top right-hand corner, 20 seconds left to go in this match, and we are going to be putting those stock numbers up against one another to see who has lasted on the platforms for the longest to claim victory at the end of the match.
While we're here in the last 5 seconds, I want to remind you guys that there is some prizing at the end of this series. Trophies, rings, and of course, gear for the teams.
That is going to be the blue side of Marshall taking in that first match. We will be going to a quick little technical pause to situate some things for our players before going into the next match. But, I mean, that's how it goes. Sometimes after you play for a little bit, you got to figure out what exactly is going wrong with some of the things that you have set up for you and your team. So we will be taking a quick break, but then coming right back to some of this action.
Okay. Hello and welcome back. It is Smash Ultimate yet again. It is still a best of 5 series. We do have a player or a team up, and we're going to continue fighting forward to see who gets the championship once again. I reminded you about that prizing just a little bit before, but we'll remind you once again as we go into this game. It's going to be a Herf Jones ring, some Corsair products, and of course those trophies. Of course, last but not least, is that Lollipop provided by Lollipop Labs.
Absolutely. Going right down into this match, wasting no time. This time around, you are going to be able to see those lives at the bottom of each of these players' percentages. Those are going to be stocks, and as I called them already, they're kind of like lives that you have in the game.
Exactly, right? Once one is eliminated, you're not going to be able to get it back, but you actually can share the stocks with your duo. So if you're out of the game, but your duo has an extra stock that they're saving, you can actually spam your controller, get right back into the game. That's called a stock share.
And this time we're seeing 2 characters from the Kirby franchise. The players from Fremont are both playing, again, characters from the Kirby franchise in Kirby and Meta Knight. Speaking of characters that I feel like have been terrors to the the Super Smash scene at some point, I feel like we all knew a person who was really good at playing Meta Knight and made it everyone's problem.
Absolutely. Earlier we talked about iterations of the Super Smash Bros. Games. There was one for the Wii called Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and Meta Knight was an absolute menace in that title.
Nowadays, he's a little more balanced, and this time around, we're getting to see the same team composition for the side of Marshall that is up a match. So they're only 2 victories away from being able to take that championship, and they've gone ahead and locked in the same composition for this match.
Things are looking a little bit more even here in this second game, though. Right now, it feels like Fremont are fighting back. They're maintaining their stocks, and they're building up percentage. Now, if you look at that character icons, you'll see black smoke billowing out of them. That indicates that those characters are enraged, meaning they're going to be doing extra damage with every hit that they dish out.
But it also makes them that much easier to get knocked out as well. So a little bit of a double-edged sword there, as we see all players now down to just 2 stocks remaining. So talk about an even match. The only one in a little bit of a dicey situation is going to be this Kirby over here.
Like we said earlier, Kirby's a very floaty character. That also means they're a very light character. So it doesn't take much to send them into the abyss. And there they go.
Knocked out, but coming right back. 1 stock remaining for that Kirby, and they're both really trying to play off the edge of this board here, and that Bowser is just doing such a good job of controlling that edge.
Not just the damage, but also the stage, the physical space. Blue team holding on the center and able to knock off red team. That's Fremont off to the side, not giving them room to breathe. It is a constant onslaught. And they know that as soon as Meta Knight finds their footing, it's going to be spamming that same side B, that drill, over and over again. Now to 1 versus 2. Meta Knight all alone, but they do catch an elimination to try and even things up, but it'll all be for naught as they catch the shell of Bowser, who sends their team up 2-0.
Marshall is 1 point away from taking that victory, but you mentioned it felt a lot more even once we saw that switch onto the Meta Knight. So that could be something that we're going to see from Fremont's side to make it maybe get a little more dicey as we go into this 3rd match. A point where Marshall can bring it all home and take home the championship, or we'll start to see some fight back from the Fremont side.
Yeah, you know, you did mention the Meta Knight switch, and that really prompts me to believe in the juggling. You know, the idea that heavier characters like Bowser are actually easier to chain into combos, right? The weight keeps them closer to the ground, so even as you build up percentage damage on them, they won't fly away as quickly, so you're just going to be able to rack up more and more and more and more until you find a final hit that may be what you need to close out a stock. Because that's really the biggest threat with heavy characters. It's just so hard to finish out that lifespan. Yep.
Well, speaking of switching things up and trying to get Fremont a point into this series, we are going to see that switch off of the Kirby and onto Pyra and Mithra.
Pyra and Mithra, another DLC character, released specifically in Ultimate. Coming in from the series that Shulk comes from, I believe, the Xenoverse. Is that correct?
Sounds right.
Yeah, Xenoblade, excuse me.
There you go.
There we go.
Somebody, not me, is going to be very upset that you got it wrong.
I could be wrong, actually. My trivia knowledge, Gotta be honest, I'm more of an analyst than a fun fact kind of person.
No, that's completely fair. And to be honest, we're at the point in Super Smash where I just assume half the characters are from Fire Emblem. So
They are two sword characters that substitute for each other, so that's very on point, actually.
exactly. And yeah, again, feels like something that would have happened or come from the Fire Emblem franchise. But we are still, on the other side, going to have two Fire Emblem characters again in the Corrin and Roy, and of course, then the Bowser. Once more, Marshall sticking to their guns and keeping the same composition every single match so far, and proving that they know how to use it.
I mean, we love to see that kind of confidence in a grand finals. I will say, though, when it comes to heavy characters, my personal favorite has to be Ganondorf.
Okay. Isn't Ganondorf, like, notoriously not meta?
Correct. That's a very nice way of saying bad. Yes, Ganondorf is not a good character, but that's why I love them. You know, it always feels great to be the underdog. But again, 2-0 in favor of Marshall. Vermont have to fight back here. Pyra, Mithra, and Corrin. No light characters in their roster now, just medium weight, able to dish out and take the same amount of damage.
Now, you mentioned that Roy is kind of like a combo-based character. Are there any characters for the side of Fremont this time in Pyra, Mithra, and Corrin who are also kind of combo-based characters?
Yeah, I think Pyra and Mithra definitely do suit that. When you play as Mithra, you're able to chain your attacks and move much more quickly. When you swap out to Pyra, you're trying to usually deal the final blow.
Okay. And it is kind of cool also to see other characters. I mean, if you've been playing for a part of the Nintendo franchise and know Super Smash Bros. For a long time, you might be familiar with like Zelda and Sheik and the ability to swap between those. And it's cool to see another character kind of take on a similar ability to that. Because that was always my favorite part when I played Super Smash Bros. Was being able to play Zelda, but be able to switch into Sheik.
But actually, I'm also a ninja. Yeah.
But, yeah, exactly. Like, get you a girl who can do both, you know?
Yes, absolutely. And they did separate them in Smash Ultimate into two separate
I
characters.
know, it
so.
broke my heart actually, but I played mostly on GameCube, so...
Okay, nice body slam there by Bowser. Deal a little bit of extra damage to Corrin. Somewhat of a difficult game here for Fremont.
Yeah, this is certainly rough. Only one stock remaining on that Pyra. A lot of damage dealt down to this Bowser, and that is going to be a fall, but at the same time as that Pyra. And so it is going to be a victory for the blue side, which we may have had swapped on our UI, and it is actually Fremont
Aha!
who take the victory here.
Congratulations to our winning students. They've earned themselves a great prize in a convincing fashion. I mean, that was some impressive Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Yes. Very exciting to see these lovable cast of characters and get to root for these students as well. We're going to be throwing to a quick little award ceremony so that we can be dubbing your victors, and Rocket League will be up next.
Every time we feel us growing stronger again. I'll take the blame, you take it back. Even though you pull me in, just to find me back. It's like knock me out and take me down like it's a hangover. Leave me on and let me down as I grow older. I'm keeping the same, don't mention my name, cause at the end of the day you were the one to blame. Nah. No escaping the foe that you have. Yeah, I was a slave at home, I was checking my phone. You never look back though. What's wrong? No escaping the road that you have. Yeah, I'm moving on to another level. Yeah, keep it going, I'm gonna settle. Yeah. Every day goes the same way, and I hear what you gotta say. I know you have to see it. You have a fantasy. I try to love you, but you still don't love me back. One day you'll realize it. When I'll be gone, you see it. I try to love you, but you never love me. I'm still running on my own limit when I think about us in my head. I'm just trying to get you back. I'll take. I know you understand. You have a fantasy. I try to love you, but you still don't love me. One day you'll realize it. When I become your sin, I try to love you, but you never love me. Every day goes the same way, and I ain't hear what you gotta say. Yeah, every day goes the same way, and I ain't hear what you gotta say. Keep your vision narrow, put your mind open. If we move like sparrows, away from sin, we might have a chance to fight through all the pain. We might keep ourselves from unraveling. There's noise all around us, it's been closing in. If we aim our arrows toward the bronze serpent, we might have a chance to fight through all the pain. We might keep ourselves from unraveling. Don't fear, look forward, no distractions, peace is near. Put your hands back on the wheel, you need to steer. Keep your eyes on the target and don't fear. Look forward, no distractions, peace is near. Put your hands back on the wheel, you need to steer. Keep your eyes on the target and don't fear. There's noise all around us, it's been closing in. If we aim our arrows toward the bronze serpent, we might have a chance to fight through all the pain. We might keep ourselves from unraveling. Cut down temptation, don't let it draw you in. With a strong foundation, we can all the way. We might have a chance to fight through all the pain. We might keep ourselves from unraveling. Don't fear, look forward, no distractions, peace is near. Put your hands back on the wheel, you need to steer. Keep your eyes on the target and don't fear. Look forward, no distractions, peace is near. Put your hands back on the wheel, you need to steer. Keep your eyes on the target and don't fear. Eyes on the bronze serpent, the tide will turn in this battle. Eyes on the bronze serpent, don't fear. Look forward, no distractions, peace is near. Put your hands back on the wheel, you need to steer. Keep your eyes on the target and don't fear. Look forward, no distractions, peace is near. Put your hands back on the wheel, you need to steer. Keep your eyes on the target and don't fear. 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 page in the book of man. I got one life, I got one shot, I'm taking my chance. Chips on the table, let's go risk it. I'm afraid of the road so far. You got one life, you got one shot, so take the chance. You got one life, you got one shot, so take the chance. You got one life, you got one shot, so take the chance. Do you think you know me? Do you think that I need your wisdom? Do you wish that I bleed from the words that you speak? I'm not listening. Is it destruction you seek to live in a world without me? I hate to break it to you, but I'm not listening. I hope you know I'm not losing sleep. I hope you know I'm not losing sleep. I'm not losing sleep. Did you think you could bleach all the blood from these streets? Is it attention you seek? Without me you must be lonely. I hate to break it to you, but I'm not listening. I hope you know I'm not losing sleep. I hope you know I'm not losing sleep. I'm not losing sleep. I don't need pills. No need for medication.
All right, we're getting into the first of two different high school championships that we have today here at the third annual Pomona Unified Esports High School Championship. And we are going to be seeing Diamond Ranch versus Park West face off down on the pitch for Rocket League. How are you feeling about the second game that we're going into, Ashkan?
Becky, Rocket League is a staple for us here at Lollipop Labs. It is a popular game. It is a fun game to watch. Even if you don't watch esports, play esports, it is so easy to engage with a game like Rocket League.
Absolutely true. It is as simple as cars playing soccer. So if you understand the general concept of like soccer, sports, goal, score, point go up, high point win, you're set. This one is, yeah, again, a staple, and we love it because it's the easiest for us to make accessible to you, the audience.
Yeah, and it's so easy to keep track of everyone as well, because unlike traditional soccer, instead of 11 versus 11, it's 3 versus 3, which is a lot more palatable.
Absolutely true. And as we mentioned, we are down onto this pitch and starting things off strong. If you are a fan of Park West, you're going to be cheering for that orange squad, and every time an orange goal comes through, you'll be able to see it in the middle of your screen. And if you are a Diamond Range fan, that's going to be that blue side, and you will likewise be seeing a blue pop up in the middle of the screen. And if you're a Park West fan, you're trying to get that ball into the blue goal, and if you're a Diamond Range fan, you're trying to get that ball into the orange goal. Sounds good? Got it? We're in it.
A couple of other things, you're going to see the perspective of the player that we pivot to in the bottom left. It'll tell you who we're watching, and the color of that block will tell you what team they're on. Right now it's Ghost Adrian on the orange team. That's representing Park West. Now, JJ on Diamond Ranch. Bronco on Diamond Ranch as well.
Okay, and we are going to be doing a quick tech pause to fix some things for our players. Once again, we talked about this a little bit in Smash. Sometimes you get into the game, some things are going a little bit back and forth, not exactly how you imagined you would play on your own home set. And we're just going to make sure that our players are all set and situated and we can have as even of a match as possible.
Yeah, I think something that's very unique to Rocket, well, I shouldn't say unique to Rocket League, but can provide some issues with Rocket League. Marvel Rivals does this as well, is that you can actually play with both keyboard and mouse and the controller, and those things can maybe fight for what the PC.
All right, and we are immediately back down into this match. Even so far, as you can tell, that timer at the top is ticking down from 5 minutes. And once we get to the end of 5 minutes, we will be going into an overtime if it is even. Otherwise, the players with the highest score are going to be taking that around in this best of 5.
And something interesting about the timer running down, Becky, now that you mention it, is that the game actually doesn't end until the ball touches the floor after the timer reaches 0.
Good call. Before everyone, as the ball is in the air and we hit 0, is like, but it's still going. All of these cars are still soaring in the air. Yes. Ooh, and very close. A nice little tap in from Zany to come through and score Park West the first point of this match, about halfway through our first game here.
Now Park West, all they have to do after getting that lead is play defensively, but that might not be enough for them, right? Some people say that the best defense is a good offense. If Park West wants to create an extra gap, they're gonna need to play forward even still.
Absolutely true, and it's always interesting, especially at this level, to see what direction these students go for. If they do try to continue to play really aggressive and kind of extend their lead, or if they play a little more defensively. And getting to even hear the chatter that is happening right beside me, calling for that ball, trying to get these passes off and make sure that they're able to try and get a score in on that Park West side. But a very nice defense coming in, and Diamond Ranch are going to be the ones to feel a little bit of this burn as the ball gets closer to their goal this time around. But it's a nice defensive push back to the middle for the side of Diamond Ranch.
Great save there by Sanjbot, keeping the ball out of the goal. Here is Schizo as well, matching that energy for the side of Park West, playing a great defender. Again, they're trying to keep that lead. They don't want to let anything come through. All they have to do is play a nice defensive game, but even still, Park West are adding pressure. Diamond Ranch, though, being as evasive as they can possibly be.
And that's kind of one of the things that we see a lot of in a game like this. I mean, we called them cars playing soccer, but they are also like cars a lot in the air playing soccer. And as you can tell, you're getting a lot of verticality from this match. And a lot of that is also how teams and players will keep control of the ball. It's a lot harder to get the ball when it's in the air versus when it's on the ground. So you'll see a lot of players kind of exert their own prowess and knowledge and skill in the game by playing with controlling the ball in the air as much as possible.
Very close goal, narrowly avoided there. Becky, while you're talking about the in-air maneuvers, there's another thing we should address is demolitions. You actually just saw some cars explode if you hit someone head on going at high speeds. Well, it may not end pretty for one of the two.
Yeah, and once you do get that demolition off, both players are going to be taken off for a second, and then they're going to respawn in different locations. So if timed correctly, it can really swing how a match is going to go. Just like that, because that demolition, that ball is free, JJ is able to steal that ball away for the side of Diamond Ranch and try to go for this push towards the Park West goal with 5 seconds and counting down. That was so close to being a score for Diamond Ranch, but very nicely done from Schizo, who turns it right back around and scores Park West a second one with only 1 second remaining on the clock.
What an answer out of Park West, using a mistake out of Diamond Ranch's players to flip the situation on its head and sprints to the other side. Time is running out, and so it does. 2-0 to the favor of Park West, who are up 1-0 in this best-of-5 series.
And just like that, as we mentioned, best of 5 is the name of the game here. So it is going to be the first to 3 points who's going to be taking home that championship trophy from us here at the 3rd Annual Pomona Unified Esports High School Championship.
It is quite the event, and that's why I like to see these players get competitive. Over the course of a best-of-5 series, Becky, there's a lot to be learned about the opposing team, what their habits are, how they like to play. Are they ground players? Are they air players? You know, how well do they manage their boost, which we haven't talked about yet, but we'll dive into when we get into the next game, right? All those little details that play into what a team is doing consistently and how you can break their patterns, make them uncomfortable, and start scoring your own goals.
Yeah, which I think is a great kind of bridge into why we're like even here, why we are in esports, and what esports is going to do for these students. And a lot of it comes down to collaborative work and problem solving. And you get to see that from what Ashkan was just talking about. What are you able to learn from a match that you just lost? And even though it ended up being a 2-0, one of those last points was scored at the very tail end of that match. So it was much closer for a lot of the game than we're giving them credit for. But it is going to be Ghost Art, Adrian, and Park West making quick use of that wall maneuver, a beautiful setup and pass. And a quick start to this match. They are not wasting any time like we saw the back and forth at the start of the last one.
Absolutely, Becky. From the tail end of scoring at game 1 to the head of game 2, it is 1-0 for Park West. They're showing signs of aggression, but Diamond Ranch adapting just as well, but keeping very close to each other. So they are losing a bit of control on the map because they're staying so tight together. I wonder if they'll make any changes to that. For now, though, it works in favor of their defense. They avoid an attack by Park West.
Yeah, that was a very nice start and 2 very narrow misses on that goal coming from Diamond Ranch. Good setup, just narrowly missing on that execution. Going for it one more time. Unfortunately, that is pushing a little too much verticality onto that ball. Let's see if Diamond Ranch is going to be able to get this recollection. And it looks like we are going to be able to see one of those blue cars pick control of that ball up for a moment after a demolition. But Park West coming in just as strong to take control once again.
4 minutes left on the clock, and I think, Becky, now is a good time to talk a little bit about that boost. Bottom right of the screen, the current player spectating has a number depleting and increasing, and that's, think of it like the gasoline, their ability to accelerate and hit high speeds and do fancy maneuvers throughout the air like that one to score onto the goal. No boost is no movement, which means no opportunity. Schizo knows that, and they go ahead and use boost to its fullest potential to hit a flying goal, putting Park West up 2-0.
And that's exactly, I think, something that we see a lot of in these matches. When you are playing that kind of heavy defensive game and you have a lot of your players very, very defensively, you can go for these setups. Very nice opening scene by the side of Diamond Ranch, and they're able to pick this one up. Goes right over the top of that player from Park West. And a goal sunk for the side of Diamond Ranch. They got to get one more in these 3 minutes and 40 seconds to even the score. But this is exactly where it gets juicy.
I mean, I love that Diamond Ranch got to highlight there how important the kickoff is, right? Because the way that Park West has been playing, they're looking at longer points, long exchanges, defense, et cetera, et cetera. Diamond Ranch said, we don't want to deal with all of that. We'll just try and win the kickoff. And they do it in a perfect victory, scoring straight off of it. But now the timer is running once again.
I mean, I think that, again, goes back into this, okay, where are we going to succeed? Where are our opponents maybe not succeeding as well? And trying to figure out, like, okay, what are our strengths and how do we play to those said strengths? So they're making a lot of these long shots as often as possible. But we are starting to see Park West also do a lot of that kind of grouping up thing that we were just criticizing Diamond Ranch for. And that could be exactly what Diamond Ranch needs to be able to make these long down the pitch situations go into their favor. They just need to be careful that it doesn't mean that the ball is completely soaring down the pitch with nobody guarding the goal.
It was a dangerous situation right there. Becky, a little bit of a nail biter, but it goes in the favor of Diamond Ranch and a bit of a lucky defense. They get to respond in kind, but not for
Beautiful
long.
corner shot.
A great corner shot indeed, and they came it up from around the side.
Yeah, that's one where you're like, okay, I'll take what I can get. That makes those physics look so sweet and good. 2.5 just shy left in this game. 3 points on the side of Park West. And now we're going back to that question, do they play defensively? Do they continue to play offensively? When you have 2 points between you and an even game, I kind of feel like aggression is the name of the game, and it's certainly how Park West has been playing.
I mean, I agree with you 100%. Diamond Ranch got to pick it up with some aggression, and I think they're doing that. Something that Park West is utilizing is the demolitions a lot, though, Becky. I mean, I think in prior matches that we've worked together, that both teams are very respectful and not going for the demo.
The roll-in!
They look a little surprised themselves.
Honestly, big on Prod for getting us that player shot. That was absolutely beautiful. And Diamond Ranch getting themselves a point. May or may not have come a little bit from Park West making an oopsie-daisy, but hey, you take what you can get in esports.
I mean, that's the high-pressure environment of the Grand Finals, right? You're going to have some slip-ups here and there, and Diamond Ranch will take them where they can get them.
Absolutely true, especially a minute 40. Plenty of time for Diamond Ranch to be able to get themselves a 3rd point, even this score up, and start fighting to see who's actually going to take that 2nd point in this best-of-5 match. And just to make it that much more difficult, though, Park West coming back with a vengeance here. A very beautiful back and forth. See, I feel like that is exactly like quintessential Rocket League that I love to see. That's like, okay, that exchange in that whole like 2-second block was between 4 different vehicles.
Right, and this is what we're talking about, how you begin to adapt and change the course throughout the span of a best-of-5 series. Compared to game number 1, that was only a meager 2-0, we have 6 points totals and still over a minute left on the clock here.
And still very possible for the side of Diamond Ranch to find themselves those 2 points. I mean, we saw that even one of their points that they have, they got within seconds of a kickoff. It just takes finding that little bit of an open space, but control is going to have to come first.
Ball here in control of Adrian, taken away from them. They have to go back for some boost. Zany trying to kick it off the wall and reposition it for the rest of the squad. But Blue's defense is not going to allow that. Diamond Ranch are pretty perked up and ready. They don't want to let anything through at this point. A 5th point in the favor of Park West would be detrimental. 30 seconds left on the clock. This is absolutely doable for Diamond Ranch, but they got to get it out of their territory first.
Yeah, and I mean, you are on occasion able to completely go for these long soaring hits down the map, but we have seen that Diamond Ranch excels a little bit more at those back and forths that eventually end up with the sink coming through and not those long range shots. 7 seconds and ticking down, and Park West is looking poised to take this 2nd match as a demolition comes through. A bop back into the air as that last second holds us in parity before Park West score themselves 2 points and put themselves 1 match away from taking home this championship.
Shout out to Zany there for that last play up in the corner. Not this very last play, but second to last. They were stalling out time, knowing that all they needed to do was keep up on the timer and run it down with their 2-point lead.
And that's like one of those things where you're hoping and like being prepared, because even though they were in the lead, it's cool to see that these players are continuing to take things seriously, even though they're 2 points ahead, even though they're 1 up in this series, still making those calculated plays that are going to show off their prowess is still very cool to me. And also it's saying, you know what? we did lose a point or two in that one, and maybe we should continue to play at the same level and not try to be a little too silly, goofy, funny. We're still here. We're playing for this championship. We're playing for those peripherals. We're playing for those $1,000 in computer supplies for our school. We got to keep game faces on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's another thing that we love about esports is it does create the environment where one has to take things seriously and understands the stake of the environment, right? Because that's always what matters. Are we aware of the situations that we're in?
Ooh.
Speaking of situations, that was a real dangerous one for Diamond Ranch, narrowly avoided at the start of the game.
Yeah, I was going to say, it seemed like a scary situation seeing that ball and then noticing that two players were ready to play that defensive game. And luckily, one of them was able to make sure that that ball got hit out of their range. Very nicely done from the side of Diamond Ranch, and really just trying to play a little bit more of a calculated gameplay perspective as we get into this third match where, yeah, they really do have to be playing with exact measurements and timing to make sure that they aren't kicked out of the championship here and now.
And speaking of measurements and timing, Becky, something that I want to highlight is that the bodies of these cars that you play in Rocket League actually do affect how you contact the ball. So the players have to be extremely spatially aware, which is another advantage to playing Rocket League, because you really do gain those spatial awareness skills.
Diamond Ranch trying really hard to make sure they make the most out of the ball being towards this orange side goal, trying to get this control as much as possible, but it gets stolen away by Zany, trying to get this back and forth to go in their favor and push back over towards the orange side. As we say that, we almost saw one of the players from Park West go, hey, this is a pretty convenient height and weight for this ball, and let's see if I can, oh, just narrowly missing it. 3 minutes shy remaining here, and still no points for either side, but we are seeing a lot of back and forth.
There it is, a nice early demo. JJ going for control of the ball, just sending it deeper into Park West territory, trying to go for something aggressive, but Park West do a very efficient job of turtling up. Still though, off the backboard once again, Sanchbot is trying to set up. The setup is stopped, interrupted just for a short while. Park West overextends slightly. Ball goes into the frame, off the backboard again. No one's there to reposition. JJ's trying to stop it from going into Diamond Ranch's territory. They're able to send it across the field. Slows things down just for a little bit, and it goes right back towards Park West. Diamond Ranch really putting on the pressure here in Game 3.
Absolutely. That was just as you mentioned it. Nobody there for the collection on that bounce back from the backboard. And that's one of those moments where you're starting to look at the top right of the screen, looking at the demos and seeing where it's not happening for your squad. A beautiful half-court shot on that one, and nobody able to make sure that that stop comes through. And also just like the final little touch to make sure that it goes in, like, even if that was going to go poorly, somebody from the side of Park West was there to make sure that that went the orange side's way.
Park West already up 2-0 in the series, up a goal in game number 3. If they close this out, they crown themselves champions here today. 2 minutes left on the clock. The pressure is on for Diamond Ranch.
Ooh, a lot of air ball happening this time around. Park West trying to make sure that in the air it still gets passed between all of their players. A lot of attention going to making sure that it stays on the ground. Unfortunately, that post hit was not quite the right angle for Diamond Ranch to score themselves a goal there. That one hurts, but it's got to be a glimmer of hope to prove that they can do it and they can just get a little bit closer for it to go into their favor. They are trying to get it back onto that orange side of the field, but a lot of defensive maneuvering is happening from the side of Park West.
Finally, Diamond Ranch break free, push it into the corner of Park West's goal. It's right around and set up, but great intercept by Zany. Good defense to stay aware. They have to reposition. It's not in an optimal zone for them to hit off of it. Basic Franco is able to respond here and man mark for a little bit, taking it out of the corner, but a light tap keeps it in.
We have 1 minute remaining as you're able to see up there. Park West currently up. The pressure is on for Diamond Ranch to try and score themselves a goal. And with where the ball is right now, the final touch in from Zany. When that push wasn't able to push it back to the middle of the field from the side of Diamond Ranch. All 3 players from Park West there and ready, like buzzards circling to make sure that it got put into the goal. 2 points now for Park West. 45 seconds remaining. Diamond Ranch, I told them the pressure was on at 1 point. At 2, they've got to be showing those fast plays like what we were seeing at the start of match 2.
Things are looking promising. Zany's actually down boost. Diamond Ranch have a bit more mobility here. So is Adrian. 2 members of Park West needing to refill the tanks. Can they make an opportunity in this moment? They are repositioning. Franco's out wide. They could tap this in, but they don't make the touch midair.
Ooh, 2 missed hits mid-air, but it's looking like Zany's going to try and go for another one. This time, Basic Franco does not miss, but with 9 seconds remaining, the ball is by this orange goal, and it is going to come through, but this is similar to what we saw in match number 1. 4 seconds, I believe, left on the clock. It's not impossible. We have seen a 4-second goal happen for the side of Diamond Ranch, but it is now or never.
You're right, Becky. It was off the kickoff for game number 2. But here in game number 3, the kickoff won't go as well for Diamond Ranch. It's still in the air. The timer won't end until it touches the ground. They're fighting for control. Park West just wants it to touch. They get it too. They win 2-1 in game number 3 for a 3-0 sweep to count themselves as champions.
Absolutely. Well fought by the side of Diamond Ranch, and congratulations to Park West, who are going to be your 3rd annual Pomona Unified Esports High School champions for that orange side. A very nice Rocket League we got to see. Very exciting gameplay. We are going to have Marvel Rivals later. You looking forward to that?
Oh, I love Marvel Rivals.
Absolutely, me too. We will be crowning these champions, and then we will be right back with some more esports momentarily.
objective inside. You're paralyzed, afraid to take the lead. Right now you can't see the path before you. The horizon is out of reach, but you're paralyzed, afraid to take the leap. These chains go stronger with time. When they get seven broken, you're not alone in this fight. Trapped inside these shells, the best version of ourselves is waiting to escape this. You're 100 feet above the ocean, and the water is all you need. But you're paralyzed, afraid to take the leap. Right now you can't see the path before you. The horizon is out of reach, but you're paralyzed, afraid to take the leap. The only way to survive this life is to take the leap. The only way to survive this life is to take the leap. You're 100 feet above the ocean, and the water is all you need. But you're paralyzed, afraid to take the leap. Right now you can't see the path before you. The horizon is out of reach, but you're paralyzed, afraid to take the leap. The only way to survive this life is to take the leap. The only way to survive this life is to take the leap. I lost my head, and I paid the price. Oh, why'd you look at me like I'll never get better? And now I'm scared, and I don't know why. But I promised her forever. I'm not giving up, so I catch myself up, good I am, but Sometimes I feel like a monster. Shit. I've said too much. It serves me right forever feeling good enough. Have I told you what you need to know? I've been living with an axe over my head. The more I look, the closer it gets. Why you gonna make me feel like that? Lock it up and throw the key. But you've only seen the worst of me. So tell me why I feel like a criminal. You can turn me up and light the fire. Could you pin me as another liar? So tell me why do I feel like a criminal? Why'd you look at me like that? Scaring me down, making me feel bad. Why'd you look at me like that? Oh, why'd you look at me like that? Scaring me down, making me feel bad. Why'd you look at me like that? Lock it up and throw the key. But you've only seen the worst of me. So tell me why do I feel like a criminal? You can turn me up and light the fire, but then you pin me as another liar. So tell me why do I feel like a criminal? So we can relax for a little bit. We close our eyes so we can see what we want to see. Ignorance is bliss. We can miss what we want to miss until it's too late to turn around and pick up all the pieces. Ignorance is bliss. short today. Feels like I fell 1,000 times. Nothing but doubt to flood my mind. 'Cause sometimes it's hard to remember why I ever started racing with my dreams. A restless December, feeling I was meant for more I feel it on my skin today. All the things I try to wash away, they've been waiting for my walls to thin. I feel it on my skin. And now the ghosts are flooding in, trying to drown me in my former sins. Let the panic in my lungs begin. I feel it on my skin. ashes falling at our feet. Can't find a common enemy. While they sing order out of chaos. There's fire in the streets. Ashes falling at our feet. Can't find a common enemy. While they sing order out of chaos. Two sides but the coin is the same. Manufactured opposition is the perfect storm. Power with no face. Destruction, the end game. There's fire in the streets. Ashes falling at our feet. Can't find a common enemy. While they sing order out of chaos. There's fire in the streets. It's an information overdose. Society comatose. Tensions rise higher and higher. It's fire in the streets. Ashes falling at our feet. Can't find a common enemy. While they sing order out of chaos. There's fire in the streets. Ashes falling at our feet. Can't find a common enemy. While they sing order out of chaos. There's fire in the streets. I don't know what to say. These streets have lost their names. It doesn't matter where I'm going anyway. And everything's worked out, but we don't talk anymore. Is that a good thing? 'Cause you don't know what to say. And I don't know what to say to you at all. Life's getting away from us, and it's okay if we go in different directions. I just need some time to take this all in. This isn't anybody's fault. Sometimes that's just how life works out. Time runs fast and so does everybody else. It's hard not to get lost in the busy days of life. Just remember who you are and you'll be just fine. 'Cause you don't know what to say. And I don't know what to say to you at all. Life's getting away
All right, everybody. Now you have had some amazing energy, and let's see if we can keep that energy up because we have a best of 5 Marvel Rivals 3v3 to bring to you. As Alan mentioned, I'm Becky. I'm joined by Ash Khan. And I hope you all are buckled up because we're going to be yapping at you a lot. This is one of the most complex games that we have had to explain on the day. So we're going to be trying to give you as much information as possible and make it as bite-sized and recognizable for you all as possible. But first, they're Marvel characters. We've seen them on the big screen. We've seen them in the comic books. So you should be able to understand at least which characters are which. And if not, we'll try to help you out with that too.
Yeah, I mean, in true Marvel fashion, there's been a lot of homework to do lately, but we're here to make that burden a little bit less. Lots of different roles throughout the game, but 3 main ones that we should talk about. You'll have a tank, you'll have a damage dealer, and you'll have a healer. And these teams will be able to select from a vast variety of characters to fill those 3 roles.
Absolutely. And just to get you all caught up here, we do have Pomona as D1 Vitality, that orange or red side. Yeah, there we go. I love to see that energy. And then we have on the other side, DTI. The blue side is going to be Gary. So those are going to be the colors of the teams that you're rooting for. We are currently in a pick ban phase of the game. There are, as Ashkan mentioned, a lot of characters to choose from, and so we are starting things off with some bans. Characters that these teams don't want to play against, and then characters that they are going to be locking in for their team comp.
We're seeing these back and forth. Essentially what's going on here, right, is that these players have goals to be accomplished with specific team compositions of characters, and they're trying to ban out other characters that get in the way of those goals. A very simple problem-solving tactic.
Exactly. I mean, simple-ish. Since we are seeing it as a 3v3 and the game is normally a 6v6, there are a lot of changes to compositions that are going to kind of play into how this match goes. And along with that, it's going to be kind of interesting to see what specifically our students are going to pick for how they decide to navigate this match that is much fewer characters than normal.
We're seeing a Namor ban, or Namor save, actually.
Yeah, it looks like the characters that we have banned look to be Hawkeye, Angela, Deadpool taken away,
You'll need a
Spider-Man,
top-notch team to
and
win
Moon
this one.
Knight.
Aha, there we go.
Yeah, we got a whole lot of things taken out and some quick lock-ins as a result of it as well. So the bans are only going to apply to the opposing team. I have seen here, as like I mentioned, that Deadpool was banned, but Deadpool picked up by DTI. DTI still able to pick that character as it was not banned for their side. And this goes into kind of what we were talking about, how these teams are managing whether they pick up a tank, a duelist, and a strategist, and if they kind of double up on some of those roles with some of the agents that are kind of good at doing both of those things. But we are seeing both of these teams go for a
30 seconds before
tank,
you attack. Get
duelist,
ready.
and strategist combo.
I'll do what's needed to win this.
Oh, what a username.
Taking up
Undead Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
For the Spider-Man fans in the room, that's going to hit hard. It's going to hit home.
And to explain a little bit about the style that we are playing, there are 2 different kinds of matches in Marvel Rivals that can be played. And we are going to be starting with a convoy for these teams. So the team that is protecting the convoy is going to make sure that the attacking team stays as far away from that vehicle. In this case, it is that lovely little school bus as possible, whereas the attacking team is trying to stay on top of or in the radius of that school bus, take out the opponents, and continue to push that convoy forward. And with some great shots coming through, we see that DT1 Vitality, the side of Pomona, is pushing that convoy off to a very nice start.
You can see there, Groot on the side of D1 Vitality is being used to create some space as that front line, as that tank. They're able to zone off angles, create windows of space that are able to be occupied where the rest of their team can dodge damage. Right now, the key for both of these teams are going to be the support characters, played by Gambit and Luna Snow, respectively. We're seeing here Black Panther going for the dive against Luna Snow, but it's not going to work. They stay alive. It is finalized, though. Luna Snow is out of the game for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 more second, and it's a whole lot of damage being done, but not by DTI. It's D1 Vitality who, despite losing a healer, come out on top.
Yeah, very nicely done from the side of Pomona, doing a great job of, as Ashkan mentioned, building up space with this group, who's able to put out those walls and then work with the extremely high hit chance percentage that's coming off of this Bucky player for the side of Pomona, doing an absolute wonderful job as the duelist in Winter Soldier, aka Sir Bucky Barnes.
That's a bit of a spoiler. I didn't know that the Winter Soldier.
What?
Bucky
Okay,
Barnes.
it's been years. You can't call that a spoiler anymore. And we did see, as you mentioned, also the Black Panther pick up for the side of Gary. That was a swap that was made from characters, deciding that something like the duelist in the form of Winter Soldier, as well as something like that Luna Snow, too difficult to handle. Gonna go ahead, try to take that switch up, try to get those dives in, but instead it is going to be one of the first ultimates of the game that we're seeing coming through from that Groot. That Groot is going to be able to pull in all of the enemies and make it really easy for that Winter Soldier to give him the old 1-2 punch with that mechanical arm.
And you'll hear that over and over again.
Speaking of, again, eventually we might be hearing that from the Winter Soldier. But some back and forth fight coming in here. It is going to pop that Luna Snow ultimate that's going to make it so difficult to kill that Groot. And Groot is going to simply be able to stay close to this convoy and continue to make it difficult for the side of Gary to stop this barrage.
Pomona having a very smooth time taking that convoy to the other end of the map. They've earned themselves a lot of time on the clock as
And
well.
a little pool party.
A what pilot?
They've earned themselves a pool party.
Oh, that is true. I never noticed. Is that Doctor Strange on the front?
It is.
That is Doctor
It's
Strange.
Doctor Strange.
With the duck beak.
Yeah.
Duck bill.
Doctor Strange. All right, it is actually a switch coming up here from Gary again. We are swapping to two different characters, going for that Jeff the Land Shark to really push in heals as much as possible, and then a swap up to a different dive in the form of matching that Winter Soldier to try and get damage to come through as much as possible. But unfortunately, it is still too much. Pomona holding on so strongly here with this Groot and doing their best alongside this Luna Snow to keep everything in their court and just holding on and waiting for the attention to come to them from Gary's side. Beautiful walls coming up to make it difficult to hit that Winter Soldier, but unfortunately that pull-in from the opposing Winter Soldier is making it so difficult for the side of Pomona to keep holding on here. And those are the sounds of some ultimates coming out from the side of Gary with the convoy this close. They have to go now or never, but you hear that I am Groot. It is a counter ultimate coming through here to try and make sure that Pomona is able to continue to push this convoy forward. But for the first time in this match, Gary has control of the convoy and is working to push it back in the opposing direction.
It's going to be a long game for them, though. 3 minutes, 30 seconds on the timer. It's continuously running down. They got to build up to some very important ultimates. They do have that Deadpool ultimate on lock. It's going to be a little bit annoying to deal with and mess with the aim of Pomona a good bit, but not too much. I mean, Pomona have been some sure shots for the entirety of this match.
Oh,
and a nice 1v1. It's Pomona that comes up on top. Achilles doing amazing work, followed up by their Groot.
Yeah, very nicely done from this group. He's doing a really good job of hitting a lot of headshots too, actually. Not something you would normally expect from your tank, but you're certainly not unhappy to see your tank pushing out a little bit of DPS as well. Not to mention the Luna Snow, able to apply a lot of CC, and it's so much easier to funnel opponents into your CC from a Luna Snow when you have somebody like a Groot, when you have those walls going up, when you have your opponents being pushed forcefully in different directions.
We're right at the edge of the first half of game number 1. Pushing straight through is D1 Vitality, representing Pomona. It's a last-ditch effort by Venom for Gary. Eliminated. The cart keeps moving. And they score it to the other side for a full 3 points.
Pomona, a great start to this first match. For the side of Gary, it is not over yet. We are still in the first match of this best of 5. Since this is a convoy push, we are now going to see the side of Gary go on the pushing side. So we're going to see Gary be the ones trying to push the convoy and see if they can make it an equal amount of distance to what we just saw from Pomona. So we are trying to see if Gary can push the convoy the entire duration, so that full 3 points, or otherwise they will be losing this first round to Pomona.
Now, something that's really important about pushing the cart is that the cart has to be either claimed by your team or someone on your team needs to continuously touch the cart.
Yeah.
And you cannot have an opponent in the cart's space either. So when you're pushing, characters that have the ability to push away the enemy are going to be of the utmost importance. That's why the Winter Soldier is so popular as a pick in this mode, because he can pull people off, and he can push people out of the way.
Yeah, so popular, in fact, that we are seeing both teams go ahead and start off with the Winter Soldier. It seems like it could be a little bit of a comfort pick from one of the players on Pomona, but we are seeing Gary make a lot of swaps to different characters, as we see even a last-minute swap from the Mantis to the Cloak and Dagger here.
Ooh, early wall there. Little known fact is Groot's walls will attack you, actually, if you stand close enough to them.
Certainly not something you want to be dealing with. And first, quick start. Pomona come out swinging here. I mean, I mentioned that Groot was pushing out damage when we were seeing Pomona on the attacking side. And even now on this defensive side, we are seeing that Groot be so annoying. I mean, you're getting to see it here. These walls are able to put all of the characters from Pomona's side in these unpredictable positions, in these positions that are so much more difficult to deal with, and also funneling the opposing side into areas that they don't really want to be fighting from. So this Groot pick is proving to just be so impactful in these matches.
You know, Groot was one of those characters that very early on into the game's life was overpowered. They have since balanced him. I promise this is a balanced character. But for these very niche strategies, of course, he's going to excel. And it has been working. It is an attempt to push out by Venom, but they fall just shy of the mark. Oh, here it is.
Speaking of, again, gonna go ahead and pop that ultimate from the Winter Soldier. Not gonna be able to find a hit here, though. Gonna go and start trying to bring that back. And unfortunate timing that the Groot ultimate is now ready. That's usually a nice little 1-2 punch between the Groot and the Winter Soldier. But gonna go ahead and be happy that they're still holding this convoy strong in the meantime. That Venom is gonna fall again, really struggling to make that space for the side of Gary and allow for something like this Black Panther to come through and really push in damage as that ultimate from the Groot comes out and locks in those final 2 picks. The res is so staggered for the side of Gary that this is one of the most unfortunate places to be as a team, even in 6v6. You talk about it, and it's got to be that much more painful in a 3v3 when your timers are just staggered from your teammates.
Now, something that's very unique about Marvel Rivals is you can actually change characters mid-round, so this is kind of what I'm hoping to see. We did see that swap to Black Panther earlier. We're now seeing a swap to Cloak and Dagger. And to me, it just feels like there needs to be a small window of opportunity to dive on the Luna Snow, but it's not going to happen. She pops the ult. She's going to be invincible for the next couple of seconds, and so too is the Groot next to her. Pomona doing an amazing job of holding down the fort. The cart hasn't even moved a meter.
Once again, the damage coming out from this Groot is just proving to be so difficult to deal with. And we were talking about also the differences that we're seeing in 3v3 as opposed to 6v6. And I think it's worth mentioning that the addition of terrain that Groot gives makes it that much more difficult to combat in a 3v3 setting as well. You don't have the time to have a bunch of your characters focus on taking down those walls because it is so much more difficult to clear them when you're only 3 players.
An attempt at the ultimate by Pomona's Winter Soldier. 20 HP, is barely living, is able to generate some shield, but not enough to get away from death. That being said, they retaliate. It is a lone Venom representing Gary right now for the next couple of seconds. They're going to be driven off and made short work of Justin a few.
The extra shield is going to keep them alive for a few seconds longer. In comes the supports.
Oh, trying to be able to hold on for a little bit longer, and the Adam Warlock is able to make it possible for this Venom to live. A close call, wiping that brow, and does also take out that Groot. So the push is going to be able to start to come forward from the side of Gary, but they are unfortunately in overtime. They have to hold themselves onto the area of this convoy and not be outnumbered by Pomona for the duration of this match.
It's overtime now. If Pomona want to secure this game as theirs, they have to push all of Gary out of the carts. It needs to be a wipe. Well, that's going to be a difficult task when it's so close to Gary's spawn. Ults are being popped left and right. Pomona lose their Luna Snow ults, but their Winter Soldier ult does come up. It's being activated. Thresholds have been created. They just need to cut down enemy health to a certain point to find the instant eliminations, and they do. A perfect defense out of Pomona.
Very nicely done. Going to be the first game going to the side of Pomona after an attack and defense. Very cleanly done from that red side and from a held team composition. We are going to go to a quick break, settle in for the next match, but we will be right back. All right, so that was kind of a riveting first match. As we mentioned, that was a convoy match. So both of those games are technically still held within the first match. So we are at 1 point for Pomona in this best of 5.
They take the lead, and we'll see if that gets tied up 1-1 after the next game, and we'll get to it after a short break.
All right, and because of that, we are going to be doing a map change going into the next game, which is also going to mean an attack and defense starting swap. Since I mentioned that there are 2 different kinds of game modes for Marvel Rivals, it's potential that based on the map that we go to, we swap from a convoy defense to a King of the Hill kind of strategy for these teams.
Which will definitely change up the hero and villain.
Absolutely. I mean, something like a Groot becomes far less impactful the moment that you don't need to be keeping your opponents off of a certain kind of focused point. I mean, it's kind of, you do have a focus point in King of the Hill, but it is much wider. The impactfulness of those specific walls is going to be far less impactful.
All right. Well, we'll bring you back the rest of the show, folks. It's going to be a couple minutes, so we'll toss it to a break.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We're ready to get back down into Marvel Rivals and go into match number 2, see which map we're going to be going to, and if we're going to a little bit of a different strategy for our players, if we'll be switching off of that convoy style of gameplay that we were seeing before, or if we stick to that or move on to King of the Hill, and see if we get to see any cool new superheroes.
Oh, word is in. It's
Oh.
going to still be convoy.
All
We're gonna
right.
see some similar strategies based around moving this cart, based around moving people off the cart and making space for it. We're going to go right back into this pick and ban phase, and it's going to reset with every game. So we may see a different set of bans, could be the same ones because it is a different map, right? Different characters are going to see better success or maybe less success.
I was going to say, I'll be interested to see if after that last game we do see a group ban coming through, because that was something that was so impactful for the opposing team, the side of Gary, to try and work through. But instead, yep, the first ban to come through is going to be that Groot saying, hey, was kind of difficult for us to deal with, so we don't want to have to worry about that going into this next game, so we're just going to go ahead and take that off of the table for Pomona's side. So that character that was doing a ton of work and making it extremely difficult for Gary to play in the game is completely taken off the table. Pomona can't rely on something like that Groot this time around.
And that's the kind of decision you can really only make after a game 1.
Yes.
I feel like, you know, there's not a lot of ability to maybe do a lot of background research on your opponents coming into this kind of a match. So once you have a read on their strategy, being able to adapt in this specific phase, the pick ban phase, is of utmost importance.
And some other bans to come through are going to be that Hawkeye, as well as Black Panther and Spider-Man going in opposing directions. A save has been put forth for the side of Pomona for that Winter Soldier, and a save for the Moon Knight for Gary. Moon Knight going to be very good at dealing some quick damage at a huge distance. So it is kind of a little bit of a niche pick if we see a dive duelist coming through for Pomona. Even a dive tank could be really difficult to play against if you pick up something like the Moon Knight. But I'll be interested to see how that goes. And a save coming through for Black Widow, something you don't see too often.
Black Widow is a very interesting character. They started off as a opposite of Groot, right? We talked about how Groot was a very strong character on release. Black Widow took some changes to actually become meta, and now she's in a little bit of a better place. She's what is called a hit scan character, meaning that where your crosshair is aimed is where the projectile and damage will be done, as opposed to a projectile character where you actually have to keep in mind how fast your weapon travels through the air.
Absolutely, and it looks like the starting lock-in for these teams, as we mentioned, they can change as the game progresses, so it's totally possible that these switch-ups come through as they figure out what exactly they're dealing with. But the side of Pomona is going to go ahead with that Thor, Black Widow, and Ultron, so a little bit of a baddie action happening for the side of Pomona, whereas the side of Gary going with Penny Parker, Moon Knight, and Invisible Woman.
Invisible Woman is going to be a very interesting pick, and I think is going to be a great way to avoid getting dove. Definitely. I mean, you turn invisible on every double jump.
Absolutely. I mean, I understand the Invisible Woman pickup after what we saw Pomona play in the Winter Soldier in the last match. This time around, not as much dive, at least from the starting composition. So potentially something that is going to be a swap if we're not able to play that same defensive strategy. But Invisible Woman, also a known shielding character, and something that is going to be very good against something like that Black Widow. So still has some upsides despite not being maybe what Gary was hoping Pomona would pick up at the start of this match. And once again, we said the tank for the side of Pomona doing and putting out a ton of damage on Groot, making sure that that happens here on Thor as well.
Immediately breaking through that setup is insane work by Pomona. They're doing an amazing job. For Gary there, they were really anchoring on the Moon Knight onks, right, and the Penny Parker mines to get everything set up and to have a solid hold. And it was immediately the carpet ran from under them.
Ultron going to be able to do a little bit of scanning damage there as well, has put some damage and assistance onto this Thor, able to swap that between teammates as well. But Thor just able to soak up so much damage with the help of this Ultron. And now from behind, this Black Widow gonna try and deal as much damage as possible, doing what Black Widow does best. But Penny Parker staying alive for quite a while. Unfortunately, heals coming through from that Ultron, just doing too much and giving too much sticking power to that Thor.
First checkpoint broken. Now moving on to the second part of the map here. Pomona continuously pushing through. Again, making quick work of it. I'm really liking the Thor pick and how much zone potential there is. And Ultron just able to navigate away from any and all of the chaos. So difficult to hit out of the skies without a hit scan character. And for Gary, they are only using projectile-based characters.
All right, swap has been made from Gary's players going on to that Winter Soldier and Thing, as well as Loki, trying to play a little bit more spread out and play a little bit more consistent characters to try and push through that damage and not be able to focus on solely headshots.
Amazing melee here. A little bit of a brotherly rivalry, right, between the Thor and the Loki on opposing sides.
Holding and trying to go for those backlines and finish people off, but unfortunately, a little bit of net action is going to make it too difficult for that Winter Soldier to be able to take out that Black Widow. Second checkpoint coming through here, and Pomona is very close to being able to take this one home.
That they are. Making it to the final third. It is a constant push. Love the use of the CC by Black Widow to keep anyone from running away. Gary switching the tank off to the Thing, who is generally an immovable object, but with no teammates behind them, is a rock waiting to be thrown.
Yeah, a lot of great work and damage being put out by this Black Widow here, and doing a good job of staying safe from this dive character in the form of Winter Soldier as well.
We're getting to that ending point, folks. Pomona with a strong lead, and they have an ult in their back pocket as well. Thor's ready to show off what the God of Thunder is all about. And Ultron following suit, 80% to their own ultimate. Gary needs to build up points for a response.
I was going to say, Gary also had an ultimate ready, but went ahead and swapped to another strategist character. And once you have an ultimate ready, if you go for a swap, it does put your ultimate percentage down to 50%. God of Thunder coming in and is going to do a clean sweep of the members of Gary, and Pomona continue to push forward.
There it is, Pomona taking in the attacking side. 3-0 once again.
Including which side you're on. You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
All right, Pomona have themselves situated with a win here to start, and we're finding out if we are going to switch convoy sides or if that is the 3 points that they need to win. All right, as we are figuring out how this is scoring up, we are going to go to a quick break before going into the next match.
Get ready.
I do hear voices in my... If you listened.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
At last our enemies show themselves.
'Tis time for the sun to rise over this realm once more.
I feel the
digging myself out of this grave. I'm digging myself out of this graveyard. Out of this graveyard, nothing but misery and loneliness under this ground, surrounded by skeletons that were lost and never found, buried in complacency
All right, everybody, welcome back. Thank you so much for your patience while we figured out a little bit of a scoring issue. We have everything situated now, and we are going into a map number 2 here between Pomona and Gary. Pomona is currently up 1 point, and we are fighting to 3 points in this best of 5. Thank you for bringing that energy back. I was a little worried we were going to lose some of that energy when we went to that break. Thank you all so much. And let's go down into our hero select and ban.
Here it is, you're seeing signs of what you already did. Now, with a little bit of insight into this current map, we might see the picks and bans change. They should remain the same for the sake of competitive integrity. But alas, what can we control?
What can we? We're doing the best with what we're able to, and it looks like 1 and 2 of the takeaways for the side of Gary, saying that Pomona won't be able to pick them are that Spider-Man as well as Black Panther. Haven't seen that group come back yet, but I like to imagine that that group is going to be taken away since Pomona was so strong with that group.
I mean, they have been strong as a team in general. It's so hard to decide
True.
what to ban. I mean, it does look like double dive ban from D1 Vitality signals that they want to have a very safe backline.
Yeah.
And so it is true the Deadpool can struggle a little bit against divers. So I can see what the strategy is there. But of course, you do have heroes like Namor who are more than capable of defending the backline.
Absolutely. And there's something that we talked about before even getting to this point in the day when we first saw each other meeting for this day. Hey, Ashkan, how you doing? Like, you ready to have a nice work day? Yeah, I'm ready to have a nice work day. Man, do you know about that 3v3 Marvel Rivals we're playing? You know what's going to be sick? How important it is for these team-up mechanics. So some of these heroes that you're used to seeing from the comics and the movies have team-up abilities that are unique to those two characters, and they basically get additional capabilities if you're playing both of those characters. And so pick and ban is going to matter even more for characters because of that as well.
You know, let's give you a straightforward example, right? Season 1, Marvel Rivals, Spider-Man, Penny Parker, and Venom all work together.
They're all spiders. That makes sense.
It does to me.
You'll need a
Hela,
top-notch
Thor,
team to win
Loki,
this one.
Season 1 all work together. They were siblings.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, as Guardians. So we might as well have all of those similarities. This is going to be an interesting start for this game. We have Gary starting with a Deadpool and, don't be fooled, even though they do look quite alike, Spider-Man, and then Bruce Banner / you may know him better as the Incredible Hulk.
Now, Hulk is one of those characters that plays uniquely because you kind of play as an evolving character.
Yeah.
You have to transform from Bruce Banner into the Incredible Hulk. You see that happen on the side of D1 Vitality, over in the top left of that screen. And once Hulk is eliminated, they don't just disappear, they turn back into Hulk.
They turn back into Bruce. You have a little bit of time to live and continue to fight back as Bruce Banner before then finally actually being eliminated. So the side of Pomona is going to be the one trying to move this convoy to start things off, while we have Gary going ahead and defending, trying to make sure that that convoy, that little robot in the Fantastic Four universe, does not move forward. We'll see how they're going to be able to do that. As mentioned, Pomona are currently up 1 map. Gary are going to try and get themselves a little bit of dub here as we start things off. A quick switch over to the Punisher here, trying to just get all of that damage pushed forward as much as possible with a little bit more of a stationary hero.
Oh, we're talking about hit stand versus projectile, and Punisher falls clean in to the hit stand roll. So they're going to be able to deal with anyone that's flying around. It's exactly what they want, especially when they're going against Pomona's Spider-Man.
An ultimate coming out from that Deadpool only to end up falling. It is going to be a double KO coming through for that Punisher, and that is going to be a long timer for the side of Pomona as those characters come back. Gary going to get a lot of push forward on this vehicle for that reason.
Trying to create a little extra momentum here after the squad wipe. Pomona on the defense, not playing the setup we saw originally with Penny Parker and Moon Knight that Gary tried out. They're still going on the offense with Thor, Deadpool, and Spider-Man. We're seeing a little bit more success now on the second fight around the carts. But Thor forced entry,
Oh, ultimate coming out for the Punisher, and that is going to be bullets all around Thor and the rest of the Pomona squad just trying to stay safe and wait that ultimate out. Spider-Man unfortunately not able to successfully do that, but a lot of damage going to be pushed through from this Thor close to that God of Thunder ultimate and going to make movements towards safety while a Phoenix is going to rise from the ashes for Pomona.
A game within a game.
Gary made it to first check mark, pushing through,
That's the one they turned into a
staying
meme.
close to the cart as well, right? The more people you have on the cart, the faster it actually pushes.
Nice little banter that we're getting back and forth between Deadpool and the announcer. Love a little fourth wall break coming through from little old Deadpool.
As a signature of the character, we wouldn't expect anything less.
God of Thunder are gonna try and keep characters back from Gary as much as possible, try and make some of those long range moves before going in with this ultimate, going to be able to take 2 down. A beautiful strike of Thunder coming through from that Thor, and is going to try and keep dishing out the damage against this Venom, and finally is able to take that final player of Gary down. This is going to be the side of Pomona pushing this convoy back with all players of Gary down for a moment and making a long run back to the vehicle.
I like how Thor moves up to create more space for the side of Pomona before Gary can actually reach the cart and begin pushing it again. Hiding behind cover, trying to get some extra damage in. Right, the more damage you do and receive, the more ultimate charge you get. Those are the most pivotal points in these team fights.
Damage coming through once again on this Thor, really just able to stick to these frontline players from Gary.
For Asgard.
We see a change to Phoenix. D1 Vitality. Holding it down in the defense now once again. Gary needs to find time to respond. They're charging up to that Punisher ultimate. Almost at around 80%. There it is. Inching closer to it. But again, this Thor ultimate is ready for the side of Pomona.
Yeah, just playing a lot of those angles as much as possible, trying to be defensive, and from the long con around town, Punisher tries to make something happen, but is met with a vengeance from the side of Pomona. Deadpool ultimate is ready to go for both players. Gonna go ahead and pop that and try to get control of this convoy back in possession of Gary, but that's gonna be more difficult now that we know that that Venom is trying to come and catch back up with the rest of the team.
The God of Thunder!
All right. Full ultimate pop. Deadpool falling back to find a flank. Control is held. Bit of a back and forth right here between the tanks.
Holy moly, yeah, I mean, it really was a slog back and forth between both tanks. Ultimates popped on both sides, and all of those players remaining for so long. Both tanks still in it, but it is the duelists who are the ones to fall. Strategists now fighting back and forth alongside this Thor. And finally, that Venom is going to be taken down. Pomona doing a great job of holding this convoy from pushing any further forward.
It was a bit of a difficult situation in that fight. Gary's Hela is dropped down first, and then their support Deadpool follows suit after.
See, this is where we start to get like quintessential like FPS game. Like, oh, I'm gonna peek around this corner. I'm gonna go ahead and take these long shots to try and do some damage back and forth. Healer is such an important part of this game as a result of that exact mechanic, and all of those healers trying to just like being able to make sure that a lot of damage isn't going to stay in those same places. As we do see Hela gonna go ahead and ultimate, able to throw a ton of damage through a ton of health, and just trying to make sure that opponents get taken down from a safe distance. Though, I will say, Pomona doing a great job of saying, all right, if Hela is in the sky, I will hide on the ground until it is safe to come out. Venom, once again, for the side of Gary, trying to hold on for as long as possible, but not able to with that Hela further away.
Hey, listen, Becky, this is not a recently released game from Valve Studios, but we have made it to quite the deadlock. It is Pomona and Gary fighting in the literal center of the map. Gary trying to fight to get control of the second checkpoint, but Pomona denying it beautifully, following up through a Thor ultimate and through a Venom shield, keeping full control of that symbiote until they finally potentially perish. There it is, Hela left all alone, and that is control of the cart ceded to Pomona. Gary only finding one checkpoint on their attacking side.
All right, game 2 is concluded, and I believe that we did see Pomona make it further with that convoy in the first half that we watched before we went to that break. So my calculations are correct. We are seeing Pomona currently at 2-0 and is one map away from winning this best of 5 and taking home the championship crown. Well, trophy.
That is an exciting prospect. Not quite a crown, but they are getting some jewelry provided by Herc Jones. A championship ring to commemorate this moment for the two teams.
All right, as mentioned, going into final round here for these.
We're gonna have everyone
Go for it.
leaving the lobby, it seems.
Okay.
So we can reset. That was an extra hat to get that final score in map 2.
Oh yeah, come back and look at us. Hello. Nice to see you.
Science in this fight.
Great to have you here tonight, watching some live rivals.
You guys come here often?
You come here. Exactly. Happy to have you. Happy to be watching some Marvel Rivals with you. Happy to be talking esports. I mean, it's such a cool thing that we're here commentating esports on a Thursday night. I'm kind of jealous of these students here right now. I mean, normally I do get home from work and I'm like, what sounds like a good time?
Oh,
Playing some video games.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, now I'm only inspired to play some more Marvel Rivals. I think I hit Diamond before and I got reset to Gold. I think after this, I think I want to play a whole lot more.
Absolutely true. Well, we've been told we have about 3 minutes for our players to get situated for the third map. So we're going to swap to a quick break, and then we will be right back about 3 minutes before map number 3.
Got ambition, had a vision in my heart. The hard decision, turn the lights off, check, set the mic up. Turn the lights off on this utopia. When my mind's on, the ambition flows. I won't fall for the solutions. They try to stop us, keep us secluded. I desire something
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are going into what could be the final map of tonight, or an extreme comeback from the side of Gary. They are down 0-2, but that means that we have a chance for a comeback.
A reverse sweep.
A reverse sweep,
One
if you
could
will.
even say.
Trying to keep it simple. Gary up against the wall. If Pomona takes down this one, then they will be the victors, crowned champions of the Pomona Unified School District Esports Trophy. Third annual, by the way.
Third annual.
Yeah.
We've had 3 of these?
They got 3 of these, 3 whole years.
Oh my God. Well, I hope
It's going to graduate next year.
that's true. Well, without further ado, Becky, we're right into the champ select, the agent select, the hero select, however you want to refer to it. It is a selection of characters we get to see into the final map. It's another convoy in the Spider Islands.
I mean, I love that they're keeping it simple for us. We don't have to explain anything new. You've seen it, you know, at this point, third game, you know how it is. All right, any of these bands sticking out to you? A certain save is sticking out to me.
Yeah, Emma Frost and Groot. We saw Groot as a crazy good tank. in map number 1.
Absolutely. So a beautiful save to come through from the side of Pomona, who are now that blue team for y'all's knowledge, whereas
need a
Gary
top-notch
are going to be
team to win
that
this one.
red side team this time around. A Jeff the Landshark moment. Plays very nicely with that Emma Frost.
I love Jeff the Landshark.
If you don't love Jeff the Landshark, what are you doing?
If you don't recognize Jeff the Landshark from any Marvel movies, that's okay. He doesn't appear in any, but he is Marvel's most beloved character.
Absolutely. I mean, look at him. He's so happy to be here. And then we have the Punisher.
And then there's the Punisher.
Whereas the side of Pomona have gone ahead with that group that we talked up so much in the first match. And then they're going for a Psylocke as their duelist and back onto that Ultron as their support or strategist character.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Here's some time in the pre-round for Pomona to set up. This is an opportune time for Groot to throw up those root walls. And remember, they do damage, they zone off the enemy team. Meanwhile, of course, Punisher and Emma Frost are going to be very straightforward characters. Something that's important about Emma is her diamond form that makes her immune to CC, extra powerful, and an all-around threat to deal with.
And is going to be able to go ahead with those shields. So something like this group that we've praised for being able to push out damage onto enemies is going to have a little bit of a struggle time doing that now that Psylocke had successfully dived to take out that Jeff the Landshark, so no healer, but at that same time the group was taken down, the damage coming through from Emma Frost and Punisher, able to do quite a bit. However, the aiming coming through from this Psylocke playing around the vehicle is doing such a good job out pushing out a ton of damage up until it ends up being that old 1-2 from the side of the Emma Frost and the Punisher.
I mean, what did I say? If there's anyone who's going to get in your face, it's Emma Frost. That's going to be early control of the convoy for Gary. They're able to make a couple of meters distance. Because there's so much in the air for Pomona, they can't actually get down and touch the cart.
Absolutely true. Very nice double kill pickup from this Jeff the Landshark, able to point both of those pieces of bubbles and spray and pray coming through from that character and taking care of those airborne characters. The swap was made from the side of Pomona to Angela, so going to be a very vertical tank to come through here, whereas this Emma Frost trying to stay on the ground, unfortunately, for the side of Gary and this Emma Frost, both teammates taken down by that Psylocke Ultron duo. And that means that Pomona going to be able to push this convoy very easily for a moment while all the remaining players of Gary are down.
I really like the adaptability by this Valkyrie. To be able to stay in the sky but then drop down when necessary. I mean, you saw them run up on Emma Frost and went, "Can I ask you a question?"
Yeah.
And so they did. And look at how smoothly they can escape out of those tight situations as well.
Absolutely true, and making a big impact there as well. It's really going to be put onto this Emma Frost to see if they're going to be able to kind of pull that Angel out of the sky, or if Angela is going to simply rule the sky. Ultimate coming through as well, and as you mentioned, let me ask you a question. See if we can take out as many players as possible, and with the help of that Psylocke and Ultron, able to clean up the entire side of Gary, push that convoy, and hold on strong into this match.
Now, what's going to be a bit difficult here is how is Pomona going to survive the next wave of ultimates? Jeff, the Land Shark is almost at 100%. It's Punisher who's about to be locked in. They have it. Emma Frost as well. The entirety of Gary can pop ultimates in a wave and get back to the park. They just need to find breathing room to come in together.
Yeah, as you mentioned, ultimates being ready full side for Gary. It's really going to come down to how they decide to use these together, being able to work them together in tandem and really make the most out of it. But as we say that, Psylocke ultimate is going to be a little bit difficult to work around. That can do a great job of making sure that Jeff the Land Shark isn't able to do anything with the rest of the team. And spears and shots raining down from the side of Pomona, and an ultimate used from the side of Emma Frost. But Gary is not going to be able to live long enough to make sure that they even get the rest of those ultimates off. Oh, an unfortunate move out of spawn, straight into the spear of Angela, who says, that is an edge, and you are but a Punisher who has no jump ability, so you will not be coming back into that. And that is enough for the side of Gary to go ahead and make a swap from the Punisher to Namor.
But there's not much time left. A swap it may be, but it may not prove to be much in the ways of revolting. It is 0-0 and a wonderful defense by Pomona.
Absolutely. We are now going to be swapping sides and seeing how far Pomona can get their convoy push. They only, at this point, need to make sure that it beats the amount of distance that Gary was able to push their convoy.
That's going to be...
That's going to be some insane defense that we've got to see from the side of Gary.
It really has to be a strong defense at this point, right? In my mind, it's like double tank, single healer, double healer, single tank.
Absolutely.
Cut the DPS and just stay planted on this convoy.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if that is the call, but it does look like sticking to that Namor as well. At least that's a character where you can kind of go for a setup and go ahead and stick in the same area. So I do think if you're going to go for a duelist, Gary has picked one that does a good job of locking down a situation. And a little bit of swap on strategist for the side of Gary, really trying to decide what they're going to end up picking. So far, it's a hover of the Loki, but did start on a different character. Whereas the side of Pomona, the swaps they're making, sticking to that Angela, which as we see can be a menace with these maps where you can be pushed off, and then going for something like this Black Panther, a great dive pick to combat, trying to make sure that you're able to even just push your convoy a little bit of distance, and then just a very reliable piece of utility and strategy from Cloak and Dagger.
I really like Gary opting for these more setup-based characters on the defense, but I mean, Namor, Loki is just opening yourself up to a Moon Knight swap. I wonder if that's something that we'll see. Regardless, though, it's an early pick. Gary falls. Their Namor is down. No, so too is their Loki. Pomona doing an amazing job. Aimer living up to that name.
Absolutely true. Gets in and starts trying to get this convoy pushed. Damage coming through. Angela is going to just try and keep this Venom occupied while the damage gets pushed through by the Black Panther, and really making it so that that Venom has to move further and further away from that convoy. You're able to see that blue wall on the road, and that is the distance that Pomona has to push their convoy.
White in the air, the check mark, the goalpost.
Oh, and they're so close to it. You can see that Spider-Bot is moving towards that blue wall. Angela and Black Panther pushing so much further past it and trying to buy as much space as possible, while only Cloak and Dagger has to sit on the Spider-Bot.
Gary, they're running back as fast as they can, but the cards hits the mark.
And with the mark, Pomona is going to be your 3-0 clean sweep champions of your 3rd annual Pomona Unified Esports High School Championship. Congratulations to Pomona and a well fought from the side of Gary.
Becky, I don't know about you, but I am impressed by the Marvel Rivals that I saw today. I'm inspired to play more Marvel Rivals because of what I saw today, and I'm even more impassioned to become a better player because of these players that we saw today.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's great to see a bit of camaraderie from these teams, the way that they were able to adapt to the situations that came forth to them, and just a good time playing games with some friends. That's what it's really all about.
That it is. Now, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap things up here on stream. And for those of you in the house, we'll be passing it over to see our victors' crowns.
All right, thank you all so much for having us here tonight. Thank you to YouTube and those of you who viewed from your homes. And for the rest of us that are here in-house, we're going to turn it over to Alan Zach. But the rest of you, have a great night.